So welcome. I'm logging in just a few minutes early like I did last week, and so as soon as you get on board, we'll get started. So when you see this video and you log in, just hit the like or share, and I will be starting soon. And tonight I do want to say, while we're waiting, that we'll talk about maladaptive behaviors. Thank you. Welcome everyone. We'll talk about maladaptive behaviors, mostly what we use to avoid pain and how that affects our lives. So we're getting lots of watchers. Thank you. I'm so grateful for all of you. And I believe in this stuff, so I've put it to use in my own life, and those of you who know me well know how big of a change it has made for me. And what I would like is for all of you to experience this, and so you can have your best life, right? We only have a limited amount of time in our bank of time. What are you going to spend yours on? And that's what we're going to talk about a lot tonight. And again, I'll cover our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. When we get them both on board and they're both working, we're powerhouses. But for the most part, our willpower is up with our conscious mind. It's 10% of the power of our mind. Our subconscious, right? Our past experiences, our beliefs, our emotions are driving the ship. We want to take control of our life back. So let's see, it is 6:59, so we'll give it a couple more minutes. Thank you. And always, you can type me questions if you want me to maybe go into a specific situation that you have. You can leave out names, because again, this is a small area. We all know each other. Or you can even email me, and then I can answer those questions and possibly, right, get you some relief, some kind of a resolution to your situation. So we'll wait for just a few more minutes. Welcome everyone. We have a great group. I don't know. I think you guys can see more than I can. Still kind of new at this whole Facebook thing, but I think that you guys can actually see how many people are logging on, and of course I get really into this, so I kind of lose track of time. So if you do have a question and I didn't answer it, yes, I see that you remember it. Thank you. If you type in a question and I miss it, just keep typing it in. And if somebody else sees it, please draw my attention to it. So welcome, welcome. All right, so we're going to get started. What I want to talk about tonight is that as we go through life, we adopt maladaptive behaviors. And they're maladaptive because they no longer serve us. They actually have negative consequences in our life. For the most part, these maladaptive behaviors restrict our experiencing a full life, a happy life. And there's reasons for this, and we'll go into some of those as we continue with this program and hopefully tonight as well. We adopt them because we're trying to get our needs met. That's first and foremost. Each and every one of us is trying to get our needs met. And what we have done is we've learned since we were young kids how to get those needs met. So maladaptive behaviors may be people-pleasing, right? We may have had a fear that somehow we would be, not accepted by our family, not accepted by our tribe, if we didn't toe the line. And so therefore we lost our individuality, right? We lost our creativity. We've all said, we all know that children are learned out of their creativity. They're afraid that, at age 5, they all believe that they can paint and sing and tell stories and do everything. But by the time we're 20 or 25, if you ask a room full of adults who can sing, very few will ever raise their hand, and even less will raise their hand on painting. We all have the ability. We all can sing. We all can paint. Possibly we couldn't make a living at it, but we all can do it. And we learn that out of our children, right? It got learned out of us, and we learn it out of our children. That's a maladaptive behavior. So I want you to know, though, that these tools do the job. You're here, you're breathing, you're alive. They did exactly what they were meant to do, and that was to ensure your survival. But again, they have consequences to our health and the health of those we relate to, our relationships. And so we talked about the drama triangle. And there's three main roles we talked about. The victim, we come into a victim the minute we're born. The rescuer, and the perpetrator bully. This is, again, is a maladaptive way for us to get our needs met, us and them. The drama triangle usually requires three, and their needs are met as well as our own. So again, I must be coming in and out, so I apologize. Let me know by hitting the like button if you can hear me okay. I really do think it's time for a new phone. So are you able to hear me at all? Okay. So if everyone's on board, I will continue. Thank you. I'm getting lots of those, so we must be doing okay. Thank you so much. So I want you to know that learning about the drama triangle, which we'll continue to use these 12 weeks, was one of the most powerful life-altering tools I learned. Thank you. It changed my life. It got me out of the drama, got me out of the cesspool of negative thinking, and gave me new ways of looking at life. And I have said, and I will continue to say, that peace is outside of the triangle, right? But tonight I want you to know that we also have maladaptive tools in order to avoid pain. Most of this that we're going to talk about is emotional pain, but honestly we have maladaptive behaviors to avoid any physical pain as well. And the reason for that is our survivor mind is a very primitive mind. It's basically the same mind that animals have, right? It's the limbic system. It's the one in charge of your body system. And so the limbic brain is not your prefrontal cortex, which is the powerhouse of the human species, the prefrontal cortex. So way back when, right, when we were trying to survive as a species, and life was much harder back then, food was not guaranteed, safety was not guaranteed, warmth and shelter was not guaranteed. We depended on our tribe, right? That's why it is so important for, our upbringing that we downloaded all of that information and became part of our tribe. It also moved us towards pleasure and away from pain. And it did that using chemicals such as dopamine. So if we tasted something sweet, that would be a nutrient we wouldn't be able to get much of. It would be highly valued in our system. Therefore, your body immediately gave you a dose of dopamine to get you addicted to that feel good so that you would seek out those foods. In order for us to know which foods were poisonous and not good for us, right, we got physical reactions indicating to us that that wasn't for our health. We built that in, right, and taught that to our offspring, who then took it forward and forward. If it's painful, right, the pain signals that it's not good for your survival, right? It's an injury. That was the main purpose of this body, this limbic system, was to move you away from pain, which was danger. So fire would burn you, right? Animals would bite you. If you fell out of a tree and broke your leg, you may not survive. So it moved you away from pain using the fear system. Fight, flight, or frozen, right? We've talked about that system. But it also applies to your emotions, because again, the subconscious mind does not know the difference between a bear and an argument. Doesn't know the difference between a bear and somebody cutting you off in traffic. it still moves you away from that, using that flood of chemicals. And so it's maladaptive when we continually alter our life, right, and design it in order to avoid all pain. We're not in as much physical danger as we were, right? We have a steady supply of food. We all have shelter, housing, heat. We have, our support groups. It's not the same, but the limbic system never advanced. So it stays stuck in the exact same way that it always operated all the way back to caveman days. That's okay. We can use it once we understand it. So I want you to know that pain is inevitable, and it's highly important. We need to know when something is wrong, especially in our physical body. We wouldn't go to the doctor if we didn't feel the pain. We would never know that we had cancer or heart disease if we didn't feel the pain, right? But suffering, right, real suffering is optional. It's a choice. It's a choice to stay there. So pain does occur. It comes and it goes. Those who live in chronic pain know, right, how to not suffer, but to live their life. They make life-altering changes in order to accommodate the pain. Let's say that it's a pain that they cannot alleviate, right? It's just something that will be with them their entire life. But they want to live a full life. Again, we see athletes, we see soldiers, people who have tremendous injuries that come back, and depending on their happiness level, they go back to that level. And they either accommodate the pain or they go into suffering. And again, suffering is optional. Pain is real. Pain is inevitable. Pain is a signal. It's a signal from the body to the brain to alert you that something is wrong. Even emotional pain. Grief is a loss. You suffered a loss. Anger means that something's not right, right? And so the pain is a signal, something for you to change in your environment, something for you to be aware of. So let's say it's a person who continually hurts you. Your body is sending you a signal telling you that this isn't okay, this isn't right, and we need a change. Because if we continue in that path, we could become sick, right? People do die of broken hearts. It's not just a saying. So again, the subconscious moves us away from pain and towards pleasure. But it also restricts our living when we talk about these next tools that were coming up, these next thieves, right, of our bank of time. So if we are so afraid of getting hurt again, let's say in a relationship, that we wall ourselves off from any new relationship in order to avoid the pain, we are limiting our life. We're limiting our life experiences. We're limiting our ability to live fully. So again, with our emotions, right? Pain is inevitable. We live on the planet. We will be hurt. We will have loss. Not all of us will live forever. Actually, none of us will, right? So we will have loss. We live on the planet. We will lose things. People, jobs, money, things that matter to us. So loss is inevitable as well, right? So that pain is your signal. Again, suffering is optional. Suffering is optional. It's what you do with your situation. And to suffer means that you're stuck there, right? So we want to move forward. These are the tools that I want to help you with. So the first one I want to talk about, and I posted on Facebook, and hopefully most of you guys saw it, is I want to ask you, do you paint people with a wide brush from your past? Because that would be the subconscious way, right, the subconscious's tool to keep you from getting hurt again. And what it uses is your filters, right? How you see people, hear people, feel people, right? It uses your filters. I spoke about, what if you met somebody who had the same name as, your partner who hurt you so badly? Would you be able, right, to not imagine that other person every time you spoke the name to this new one? That would be painting the new person with the wide brush of your past, applying to them what may not be theirs, and then judging them or blaming them or interacting with them after you've painted them with the wide brush of your past, right? It's not their past, it's yours. So you may have a past with this person, right? Again, for most of us, we live in a small community and we know each other. We may have a past. People change. People change. I can tell you that because I have changed tremendously. I'm not the same person 5 years ago than I am today. I'm not the same person 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 50 years ago, right? People change. They absolutely do. And there's this old, I don't know if what you would call it, a wives' tale or a belief, right? That people don't change their stripes. A leopard doesn't change its spots. That's not entirely true. We do have some core values. Most of us come with those. And we do have some personality traits. But it absolutely is not true that we can't change. Not true at all. Our mind is so malleable, so powerful, that we can change our beliefs, and when we change our beliefs, we change our life. So I want you to know that that old wives' tale, right, that leopards don't change their spots or you can't change your stripes, isn't exactly true. Now, Dr. Phil will tell you that one of the best predictors of future behavior is past behavior. This is true, but it's not concrete, right? We talked about fluidity. Truth is fluid. Allow some movement, right? For you to live your best life, and remember, how you view other people is how you view yourself. So every gift that you give someone else, whether it's compassion or understanding, is a gift that you bring back to you and give yourself, right? It's a way of living in understanding and compassion and kindness and love, and your life will reflect that. Mine certainly has. So I want you to know that along with painting people with the wide brush of your past, we also paint other things, jobs, right? If you hate one job and you end up staying in that, industry, right? You may paint the entire industry with a wide brush of your experiences from the previous job. You may do that to places, right? Let's say that you had a really bad experience in a town, and then, right, all of it changes and you move, and then you're asked to go back. Would you be able to go back there and not carry with you all of the memories of the past, right? And again, you take you with you. The town is just the town. It's what you experience, how you experience it, how you react and respond to what occurs in your life. Are you painting that same town with a wide brush? And I will tell you that if you've grown up in a small town and experienced a lot of pain, right, in your life, it's really easy to blame the location, more so than understanding that you have more control than you give yourself credit for. So what does that do? That restricts your life. It limits your life experiencing. This is an example of a self-limiting belief, a self-limiting negative belief, and we'll talk about that. So painting people with a wide brush, let's say that you had a bad boss, right? Made your life hell. We've all had good bosses, bad bosses. We've all had great coworkers, bad coworkers, right? We'll talk a little bit about judgment, because that's judgment, right? We'll talk a little bit about that later on this evening. But for now, let's say that you're painting right? You're a new boss with a wide brush from the old boss. I would ask you, do you really know if that person is that way? Or do you believe them to be? Do you perceive them to be? And can you really tell the difference? Are you giving them all of the benefit of the doubt? Are you basing your relationship with them on them? Or are you bringing a lot of baggage to it? Now here's the thing. They bring baggage too. A lot of it, right? We all do. And so the more that you can rid yourself of your baggage, the easier it is for you to relate to somebody who does come into your relationship with baggage. You have more tools. More tools. And so that's what I would ask you to do, is to start, right, by seeing what your baggage is and understanding that you absolutely can color a relationship with the paintbrush from the past. And when you do that, you avoid living. Because again, the subconscious moves you away from pain. It's one of the tools it uses. It's a thief of your life experiences. Because maybe this person is going to be one of the most miraculous, amazing, wonderful people. Will you give them a chance to be that? Or will you avoid them by avoiding your pain? Right? Living by avoiding pain. So now I want to do a powerful exercise. Those of you who know me, I will consistently ask you who you give your power away to, who you allow to steal your joy, who do you allow to steal your peace? Because the responsibility for happiness is yours, period. There is nobody else. So this exercise will really demonstrate that. So I want you to imagine a scale from 1 to 10. 1 to 10. And if you have paper, write it down. And this is how you apply this. If it weren't for this person, the circumstance, the situation, let's say it's people, finances, health, how happy would you be if it weren't for this person or a circumstance or a situation? And here's how you apply this. Let's say, for example, that you have a boss that's really difficult. Poor bosses, it must not be boss day today. But let's imagine that you have a boss that's really difficult. On your scale, you scale it that you would easily be at a 9 if it weren't for this person. But you feel that you're barely at a 6. You're almost at a 5. If it weren't for this person, you would easily be at a 9. But you feel that you're barely at a 6, maybe even a 5. On your piece of paper, this is how much this person decreases your happiness. They decrease it by that amount. If it weren't for them, you would be much happier. You gave away your personal power. This person now controls 30% of your happiness. They control no less than 30% of your personal power, and they're one person. What if you have several in your life? Who are you giving your happiness to? Who are you allowing to steal your joy, your peace? Who are you giving your power away to? Is this where you want your power to be, your happiness? Do you want it to be based on this person outside of you, right? So I've talked a lot about building, right? Your building blocks for happiness and health, abundance and love is within you, right? You can build a house of cards, but any breeze will blow it down. Do you want your happiness to be built on a house of cards, or do you want it to be built on a strong foundation of you, where you control how you react and how you respond? That's where all your power is. It's not that you're going to control outside circumstances. You definitely will never control people. You can't control the weather. Can't control the economy. but you can control you and how you react and you respond. And your happiness comes from within, never without. So on that scale, right, we'll use it often, right? Who are you giving your power away to? And if you're having a hard time visualizing it, place it on a scale. If it weren't for XYZ, if it weren't for this person, if it weren't for this situation you were in, how happy would you be? And that's how much you're giving away. And you can reclaim it. And that's what we want to do. So again, whenever I talk about who are you giving your power to, who are you allowing to steal your peace or your joy or your happiness, this is what I'm talking about. This is a visual tool for you to know who you're giving this all away to. And you can reclaim it. Because remember, you have a limited amount of time in your bank of time. And there are only withdrawals. Every breath and every moment is a withdrawal from your bank account of time. Who are you going to spend it on? What are you going to spend it on? Who are you going to give your power to and allow to take your peace and joy from you? Because that cannot be reclaimed in this bank of time. So now, right, if you like what I'm talking about so far, please hit the like or love button. Hit share if you want to. I would love that. But please show me that we're right on track and you guys are enjoying the discussion so far. Great, great, good. Thank you. So now I want to talk about one of our first thieves, and it's a powerful one. So if you have a piece of paper, I would love for you. Thank you so much. You guys don't know how much that makes me happy. All right, so I want to talk about getting stuck in blame. Now we're humans. So first of all of these things I talk about, I don't want you to use it against yourself, right? This is for empowerment. This is so that you can reclaim your best life. Thank you so much. So getting stuck in blame, and we've all been there. And blame is purposeful. It's the getting stuck in it that I want to talk about. So let's say that you're rear-ended in your car. When the event first occurs, of course, right, we need to know what caused it. How did it happen? Who's to blame, right? But we don't get stuck in those. Well, we can't. But I'm suggesting that you don't, right? We move through it. It's just an event in time. It's part of the process. But if you stay there, there is no movement forward. Let's say that 2 years, right, later, you've never recovered from the accident emotionally, right? You may still have, a bum neck or a bad back, or, right? We do know people that have been seriously injured in accidents. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the emotions, right? Because happy people can adjust to their physical conditions, right? Secure people who are living a healthy life from the inside out can adjust to their circumstances. That's what I'm talking about. So let's say that you're still 50 years old and you're blaming your parents for all of the shit that occurs in your life now. That would be getting stuck in blame. What are you going to do with that? Are you going to continue to blame them, or are you going to make changes so that you reclaim your power? Because blame is giving away your power. If it weren't for that person, I would be a 9 on the happiness scale. It happened to me when I was 10. I'm 50 now. Are you going to allow them to steal those moments from your bank of time? And we tend to blame our parents, right? Teachers, important people in our life, the cliques in school that were mean to us, bullies from school, right? We tend to blame. And we are wounded then. And we didn't get the tools, right? That's what I want you to know, is we didn't have the tools to move forward. But once you are aware, right, all of this that I'm sharing with you, now you have an awareness. It places the choice with you. which is claiming your power back, right? Your power to live your most wonderful life. The power lies with you, no one else. No one can make you happy. No one can love you enough. No one can fill the voids, right? Give you enough attention, appreciate you enough. We talked about that. Value you enough, respect you enough. It comes from within. It all comes from within. So blame places the power outside of you. What do you need to do? You need to move through it, right? And it's okay to call it shit. Shit happens. It's okay to say that what happened back then was not okay. It was a big pile of shit and you lived through it. That's perfectly okay. To call it what it is. It was crap. But then what do you do, right? Again, then what do you do? How do you move through it? So I would ask you, right, if you can become more aware, if you can develop your understanding of the situation and use your new eyes, right? The power that you have in your conscious mind, the power that you have from being an adult, right, and having that maturity, can you then go back and look at that previous situation with new eyes? And what this does is you'll generally find, right, let's say it's your parents. They absolutely did not intend to hurt you this way. They love you, and they loved you then, and they wanted what was best for you, but guess what? They didn't have the tools. They didn't have the knowledge. They didn't have what you needed. They didn't get it either, right? So if you want to break the cycle, but staying in blame won't get you there, right? Once you look at, let's say, these people who hurt you so bad, and it could be a past lover or, you know, a boss, it could be anybody. When you look at people with compassion, when you look at them with forgiveness and kindness and awareness, guess what you're giving yourself? The same, right? Because none of us are perfect. And I will tell you that each and every one of us gets up every single day and we absolutely do the best we can with what we have in that moment. There isn't one of us who wakes up with a desire to fail miserably. Most of us don't wake up and want to hurt anybody. It happens. We're human. It happened to us, and it's happened from us. And so practicing kindness and compassion and forgiveness, by practicing the awareness and the understanding that this person comes to this situation with the very limited tools that they had. And I will tell you, especially with our parents, who grew up without these tools, right? And so many of our parents were in horrible situations, right? There were depressions and there were wars. That absolutely colored them, right? And they bring that to their family, right? And they did the best they could, and every one of them will tell you that they tried to give you more than they had, right? They wanted better for you than what they had. They didn't want you to experience the same pain, right? They wanted you to have pleasure. They wanted you to have success, but they didn't want you to hurt. And so many times, they acted out of that. Did it backfire? Lots of times. Did it empower us? Many times. Did it give us the tools we have today? Of course, right? But they did the best they could. So do you. So again, practice awareness, understanding, compassion, kindness, right? And forgiveness, and let the past go. I will always ask you to let the past go. Don't carry it with you. Here's what I would like you to keep. the love, right, that you received, the friendships, your tribe, the lessons, and the gifts. You are who you are today because of your experiences. Honor that. I posted today that you absolutely don't honor your journey if you wish it didn't happen. Right? Honor it. It's who you are. It's part of your tapestry. Keep the best, but let go of the pain, let go of the guilt, let go of the shame, let go of the hatred, right? Let it all go because it doesn't serve you. And it absolutely will keep you stuck where you are, right? And I have a feeling that you're here, right, tonight listening to me because you want your life to be better. And these are the tools. So the next thief is judgment. And I will tell you that I didn't think I was a judgmental person, but I was. And most of the time, because I came at it from the rescuer role, I was trying to fix another human being. I was trying to fix their life, make it better. Sounds admirable, but here's the thing, it required judgment. I had to assume they were broken, not good enough, weren't doing it right. I felt that I was doing it lovingly, but it was absolutely judgment. And all judgment, I want you to hear this, write it down, all judgment is self-judgment. All judgment is self-judgment. It will always come back and hurt you. Always. So practicing getting out of judgment of self and others, right, doesn't mean that you're still not going to try to do your best. It doesn't mean that you're going to analyze when things don't go well. But judgment means that you believe people, especially people, are wrong. Right? They're broken. They're not right. Get out of that game because it's a time stealer and it's a life stealer. You absolutely cannot live your most full life. You can't have the experiences in life when you're stuck in judgment. Same thing as blame, right? It keeps you there. So we're human. And where judgment came from, again, our survival. The subconscious mind came at it way back then as a survival technique. And we judged people on how like us they were. Right? This is where prejudice comes from. People who are not like us. And it's an old, old, old primitive tool from our tribes, right? The very oldest tribes. These people can't be trusted because they're not one of us, right? We had a war with that tribe and we lost half of our village, right? That's judgment, that's prejudice. They're not like us, right? It also, when we're young, really young, learning who we are, it's one of the tools that we use early on to base our okayness on, right? On how others behave and the results they get. See how it's very natural, right, for a child to say, ooh, older sister got her ass whipped for doing that. I'm not doing that, right? That's where judgment came from. It was a natural technique. We base our okayness on how others and their actions are perceived by our tribe, right? Oh, yeah, you can't do that. You can't stay out late and drink and party because the village doesn't like that. They think that you're not being a good girl or a good guy, right? So that's how we based it. It's a need. Now, I want you to understand that it's no longer a survival need, right, for food, shelter, protection. It's an emotional need for connection, right? And we all come into life thinking that we're separate from each other. We're not. We're all connected, each and every one of us. And it's not Facebook connecting us, right? We're all connected. But it's that need, right? So as a child, you want your parents' approval, right? Because they feed you, they house you, they clothe you, they provide you with the goodies that you want. So you learn early on based on judgment, right? Is that good or bad? That's judgment, right? Are you a good girl or a bad girl? That's judgment. So you learn early on to get your needs met. I'm going to tell you it's maladaptive. And now that you're an adult, you can start to use your eyes of discernment and see when you're judging others. But also notice when you're judging yourself, because that's that negative self-talk. And what you perceive to be wrong in others is something either you fear in yourself or you despise in yourself. And that's what I say. All judgment is self-judgment. So again, as a rescuer, trying to make others' lives better by seeing that, they were broken. They needed fixed. Something wasn't right. It was absolutely a judgment of myself for not being all that I thought I should be, right? That I was supposed to be. That I could be but wasn't, because somehow I was a failure and I wasn't good enough, right? So if you see others, right, and you think that they should be doing it differently, most likely you are judging them based on they're not good enough, right? They're not doing it right. They could do better. Anytime you say they or you could do better, you are judging yourself from the negative self-limiting belief that you are not good enough or you are not enough. So if this is ringing true for you, or you're understanding it or seeing it in another, I'd love for you to hit the like or love button. It just gives me an idea that we're right on track and that you're really enjoying this, for one, and seeing how some of these thieves, right, keep you from living a full life. Thank you. Thank you. So judgment, blame, really go hand in hand. And they absolutely are thieves. They will steal your love, they'll steal your peace, they'll steal your joy, right? You cannot be in love and fear at the same time. And there are only two. There's love and there's fear. Where do you want to live, right? Where are you going to get the most life experiences from your bank of time? It's through love, right? So judgment does not support love. It is absolutely fear-based. Again, prejudice is fear. Fear of somebody who is not like us. Right? Well, they hurt us. Can we trust them? That's where it came from. It's an old, primitive survival tool that you now can put behind you and live a much happier, healthier, peaceful, joyful life. Right? Healthier too, let me tell you. So I want to talk about two little ones, right, that actually have big impacts. Complaining and pet peeves. So I've asked before on Facebook, what do you complain about? Do you complain? Do you have any complaints? I asked today about pet peeves. Do you have some? And here's why they affect your relationships, how they affect your life. I want you to know that what you complain about and what your pet peeves are is a direct line of communication into your negative self-limiting beliefs, into your subconscious. So if you know of something that you normally complain about, right, something that really pisses you off, let's say, I'll tell you one, right? You go to Walmart and they have 30 cash registers and 5 are open, right? That's a complaint. Happens a lot. Am I going to allow it to steal my time, right? My bank of time. Can I be a happy, satisfied person while I wait in line? Is there really, really something that this is destroying in the fabric of my life? No. Right? So what do you complain about? That's a pretty minor one. If you complain that, let's go, families, you're not appreciated. You do all the housework and nobody ever says thank you. And they don't appreciate you, right? It absolutely doesn't bother them to walk through the house where you just mopped with dirty shoes. The hamper is there, and they throw the dirty clothes on the floor, right? This would be a consistent, constant, chronic complaint. It stems from your own lack of self-appreciation, your own lack of self-value, your own lack of self-respect, and most definitely your own lack of self-love because you feel they don't love you, right? Because they treat you that way. So what do you complain about? Because like blame, most of the time this is just negative talk, negative thinking. Especially if you complain about others, right? It's just negative talk, negative thinking. Especially if nothing changes. There are no actions for a resolution. And how do you know? How do you know that you're just in constant, chronic complaining? How often have you complained about this exact same thing? 10 years have gone by and nobody still appreciates the housework you do and nobody respects, right, you, and they don't value you because they still throw their clothes on the floor, not in the hamper. They still walk across the floor with muddy shoes, right? If it's been more than 2 or 3 times, this is a pattern of negative thinking, period. Is it wrong that they're disrespecting you this way? Absolutely. But where have you been for the last 10 years, right? And if it doesn't change, you're not using the right tools. You are still in lack of you, right? Are lacking your own respect, your own value, your own appreciation, your own love. Because if you were fully in self-love, you would not allow this, and you would not accept this, and you absolutely would change. If you respected yourself, you would not allow this level of disrespect. If you valued yourself, you would not allow others to devalue you in this way. And if you appreciated you, and if you appreciated your own life, your own value, who you are as a person, then they could not unappreciate you. So complaining is huge. It's a key to going in and seeing what's really in there. And the words you use are your self-words, right? They don't appreciate me. All right, well then you don't appreciate you. Because that's the only person who can. And what happens is you bring about, right, your negative self-belief must be true. Therefore, you would never set it up to where they would appreciate you because you don't appreciate you. And your belief, right, you're not worthy of appreciation. You don't deserve appreciation. Then it could not come to you because then it would make this belief false. And the belief that you hold must be true. You can change the belief, but it takes effort. It takes what we're doing now, going inside and seeing what those beliefs are, right? So if the situation has not changed and you find yourself consistently, constantly, and chronically complaining about the same thing, it is your negative self-belief that is perpetuating it. If they love you, they will change. When you demonstrate that you will change, right? That you love you, right? And that it's no longer acceptable to be treated that way. So again, if it's happening, right? Unless you are in such an abusive situation that your life is in danger, right? Which is not what we're talking about here. Then the control is yours, right? Who do you give your power away to? Who do you allow to steal your joy? Who do you allow to steal your peace? Who do you allow, right, to steal those moments from your bank of time? Is this how you want to live your life? Right? So again, if it's been more than 2 or 3 times that you complain about the exact same thing, it's negative thinking, period. Get out of it. right? If you complain to others who have no power, who are you allowing to steal from your bank of time? Why are you complaining to them if they can't make a change? All right? Now, one, I want you to know that I am not judging. I've done all of these things. I speak from experience, and I speak from the experience of change and how it has affected my life. Right? So get out of judgment, get out of blame, get out of complaining. It steals your bank of time. And once you really start to understand that bank of time, you'll be far more protective of it. Right? Life is full of amazing things. You all know the story of my butterfly when I was walking along the road, and in November, this beautiful butterfly almost hit me in the face, right? That's what I want to experience, right? The lines at Walmart are the lines at Walmart. When I go to Walmart, I know that that's a possibility. Am I going to go into it expecting it and then allowing it to steal my peace? No, absolutely not. So these are moments you can't get back. These are moments you could have spent, right? Loving another, spending time with another, reading a good book, drinking an amazing cup of wonderful tea, having a delightful bath with all kinds of bubbles and candles, right? Those are the moments. Or you can complain, right? But I say that I don't have enough time to complain. So then there's pet peeves, right? And a lot of Facebook posts and social media and jokes, and people talk about pet peeves, and it's as if we have a right to these pet peeves, right? And they become like an honor system or a martyr system or whatever that would be, right? But I want you to know that a pet peeve is simply you putting a name on your complaint, right? I could easily say that the pet peeve, the complaint at Walmart, right? I could put a name on it. A lot of people really, they understand that, right? You go in, especially Christmas, and there's all these lanes and none of them are open, right? We understand it. We joke about it. We have amazing Facebook posts about it. They get a whole lot of followers, right? Because pet peeves are a way for us to label our complaint. So what is that? You label your complaint. You're making it a concrete part of your life. Because once you label it, once you name it, once you claim it, you will experience it more often. You will look for it, you will expect it, and it will happen, right? And you will have that experience more than someone who does not have the same pet peeve as you. Because what you focus on, what you claim, becomes yours. Plain and simple. You design your life by how you react and respond. You design your life by what you believe. You design your life by the maladaptive tools that you use. You can absolutely change it. I did. Now I will tell you that I had some deep-held, concrete, negative self-limiting beliefs. Deep-held, concrete, negative self-limiting beliefs. As you all know, that I've been on a health journey, right? I was overweight, extremely so, for well over 30 years. That's a negative, concrete, self-limiting belief, right? I'm changing. It takes time. The more that we've packed in there, right, the more that we haven't moved through, the more we hold on to blame and judgment, the harder it is for us, right, to peel those layers, to uncover what's really inside. But the more we do it, the better we get, and the better we get, the more we want to do it. And our life just gets better and better and better. And I will tell you that I cried buckets of tears for probably well over a year as this shit came up, right? Because I had packed it in there, and I had a happy face, but I had a very, very sad, broken, right, needed fixed belief system. But the more I uncovered and the more I let go, the more I wanted to get in there and get more out, right? Because it's poisonous within us. And the more that you can release, the happier you can be. The more that you release of your past, the less you paint, right, your future, tomorrow, and the next day and the next day. You want life to come at you in the unexpected, surprising ways it does. And when you are a happy person, right, full of self-love and self-value and respect and appreciation, you can handle whatever comes your way, right? And you can experience life fully. So those are some of the tools, right, the maladaptive behaviors that I want you to work on this week. Judgment, complaining, pet peeves, write them down. I really would like for you to look at that. Who do you blame? Who would you like to forgive, right? Who do you judge? What do you judge, right? If you're judging others, you're really judging yourself. We talked about that. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy would you be if you weren't giving your power away to this other person? Claim your power. Reclaim it. Take it back, right? That other person doesn't want it either. They don't want to be responsible for your unhappiness. They don't want to be responsible for your happiness, right? They don't want that job. They have their own, right? It's hard enough walking through life. And then start to really, right, dig in and see if you're painting others or jobs or situations or places, events, right? I'll never go to another, Def Leppard concert because so-and-so broke up with me there, right? No. Why would you deprive yourself of that? That other person doesn't even care, nor do they know, right? So what are you painting your world with this brush of the past? So really begin to know who you are. Really begin to reclaim your power. Protect your peace and joy, right? Because once you receive those and you feel them, you don't want to let them go again. So I'd love to hear from you. We'll close for now. Next week, we'll dig even deeper. More of the same subjects. And again, you can always rewatch this. It's on my Facebook page. And you can like, share, comment. You can contact me. You can private message me. You can email me or text me. I would love to hear from you. And if you have a situation that this feels that it touched a nerve, let's say, but you really don't know how to move through it, just give me a call. Send me a text message. Send me an email. And as always, I wish you love and light and wonder, right? Don't forget the wonder. Life should be surprising. We want to be surprised. We want to know, right, that we can live through whatever surprises come our way. All right. So until next week, love, light, and wonder. Bye.